Hey guys, my name is Aubrey and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Aubrey and this is my channel, and here we discuss all things entrepreneurship, business, things like Turo, Upwork, freelancing, investing, personal finance, and everything in between. If you are new here, I would greatly appreciate you hitting that subscribe button and hitting that like button down below. It really helps YouTube algorithm. If you are already subscribed, then I greatly appreciate you. So in today's video, I am talking about a topic that I think a lot of people will be interested in, and that is how much money did I make in 2019 on Turo, and what went into that amount of money, like what type of work did that require, and what are my plans to decrease expenses and increase profit come 2020. So let's just dig right in. So in 2019, I made a gross profit of $79,165. So what does this number include? This number includes my personal gross earnings that I received. It also includes Turo's portion, which was 25% up until June 2019, and then they switched that to 30% in June 2019 going forward. So it includes that as well. It also includes any damage claims and any reimbursements. So once we take out Turo's portion of their earnings, my personal gross profit comes out to $65,592. So that is how much money I made in 2019 on Turo. So what does that include? What type of time commitment did that require? And what type of cars did I have, or how many cars? So I don't talk about this a whole lot on this YouTube channel. I haven't spoken about it in any of my previous videos, though I do have a lot of plans on creating content regarding this subject in the future. But I joined Turo in 2017, and I took it seriously as a legitimate business at the beginning of 2019. So between 2017 and 2019, I really treated Turo like a side hustle. It was something I didn't dedicate a lot of time to. It was really just kind of on the back burner. It was an easy source of income for me. But what I was doing full time during that period of time was I was running a restaurant. I had a restaurant that I owned, and my plan really was to grow that restaurant to a multi-unit brand. I wanted to eventually take on franchisors. I really wanted to turn that restaurant into something big, and that was my plan for really my entire career, was that. But in November of 2018, I actually lost that business. There was a fire and we didn't reopen. One day I went to sleep and I had this business. The next day I woke up and I no longer had it. And so with that, my personal source of income was gone. My business source of income was gone. I no longer had any ways to pay my bills, and I needed to figure out what to do. And that is when Turo came in, and that's whenever I decided to take Turo seriously. So in January of 2019, I just had a couple of cars on the platform, and I didn't have an LLC. I didn't have any official business relationships with any shops, vendors, or suppliers, and it was really just something I did kind of off the cuff. But then in January of 2019 was whenever I decided to take that seriously. So I had set the goal of forming an LLC. I wanted to start forming business relationships and vendor relationships. I also wanted to get up to 10 cars for 2019. So that is what I did. And in August of 2019, I reached the 10 car mark. During the entire year of 2019, I actually had to buy more cars than that because we had a couple of total losses, so I had to replace those. But I also formed my LLC. I was able to form a lot of vendor relationships with different shops and different suppliers, and I was able to turn the side hustle into a legitimate business. And so it really took the entire year to get to that point, to where I feel like this is a legit business now. It's no longer just a side hustle, and it took a year to get there. And with that, I made $65,000. As far as the time commitment for that $65,000, I would say it's relatively low. I still don't consider Turo to be my full-time job because there isn't enough to do on a day-to-day basis for it to be my full-time job. I still do a lot of other projects. I have a lot of other things going on that produce me income, and Turo probably at the end of the day takes up about 25% of my time. There's weeks and days where it takes up significantly more than that. There are days where all I do all day long is Turo, but those days are few and far between. And for the most part, I would say I spend about an hour a day on Turo. There's some days where I don't spend any time, and there's some days where I spend all day. And so if you average that out, it's probably about 25% of my workday is spent working on Turo. So now begs the question of what are my plans for 2020 and how am I going to get there? So in 2020, I want to double my growth. I want to go from $65,000 gross profit to $130,000 gross profit, and I want to go from 10 cars cars to 20 cars. So with that, I need to buy roughly 1 car per month. I actually have already bought 2 cars this year, but I had a total loss. So I started 2019 with 10. I bought one in January, which brought me to 11. I then had a total loss, which brought me back down to 10. And then I bought another car, which brought me back to 11. So I want to have 20 cars by the end of the year. Another thing that I want to do is I want to hire an employee. I want to hire somebody that can help me fix the cars and maintain the cars. That way it's not so much reliant on me, and the business can really run more passively, because that is another thing that is an issue with Turo, is going on vacation. Is I actually just got back from a week-long vacation this past week, and it logistically is really difficult to run Turo whenever I'm not there to check in the cars. And so I have to either like get somebody to help me, pay somebody to help me, or get family to do it. And so it becomes really difficult. And so once I get to 20 cars, it becomes too hard to just recruit my family members to come out and help me, and I really need an employee. So those are the 2 main goals for 2020, is double growth. That means double car count and double gross profit, and I want to hire an employee as well. The other thing I want to touch on is expenses in 2019. So my expenses in 2019 came out to roughly $24,000, and with that came a lot of expenses with growing the business. I spent a lot of money really turning this side hustle into a legitimate business by buying tools, by buying supplies, by buying the things that I needed in order to grow. And so in 2020, I also plan on really cutting back expenses. I would like for my expenses to stay the same, relatively $24,000, while my car count grows to double that. So I would really like to cut my expenses in half in 2020. I think that that's doable, because in 2019, I bought a lot of tools, a lot of supplies, things that I won't have to repurchase in 2020. I've also streamlined my process quite a bit, so I no longer buy things at retail value. I now buy a lot of my supplies at cost, or really close to the cost of the item. And so it'll be interesting to see how my expenses compare in 2020 compared to 2019. So now begs the question of, can you create a passive income on Turo making $65,000 or even more than that? And the answer is absolutely you can. I know that $65,000 at the end of the day isn't life-changing money. Like, it's not a ton of money. It's a lot of money, but it's not Ferrari money, it's not mansion money. So I'm not trying to over embellish the $65,000 mark, because I understand that I understand that there's a lot of people making more than me. But you can definitely do this exact same thing on Turo. It's not difficult. I am not abnormally smart. I am very hardworking, but I really believe that anybody who's willing to hustle and willing to be a hard worker can be really successful on Turo. If you have a just general background of cars, if you are willing to hustle, if you're willing to learn, then you can turn Turo into a really great business model. And that's what I've done. And so if you are interested in learning how to make 5 figures, 6 figures on Turo, then definitely hit that subscribe button and hit that like button down below. I am releasing a lot of videos on this exact topic on Turo and how to make money on Turo. The other thing I want to preface is that Turo isn't my only income stream. I have a lot of businesses and a lot of income streams, and I want to talk about all of those on this YouTube channel. But most importantly, I want to teach you how you can also make money on Turo. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 18 years old. I've owned a restaurant. I've had a Turo business. I've gone through lawsuits. I've done way too much for a 26-year-old, but I want to teach you, my viewers, how you guys can learn from my lessons and learn from my failures, but also learn from my successes. And I would consider Turo to be one of my successes at this point. It's something that I've done really well. It's something that I'm proud of, and I want to help people who are interested in joining Turo do the exact same thing. So $65,000 in 2019. I'm going for mid 6 figures or mid 100 6 figures in 2020, and I'm going to be taking you guys along for that journey. So stay tuned. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that like button, and I will see you guys in the next video.